We're going to go ahead and just jump right into the very first verses, and that is balloons versus bubbles. I
Balloons
know,
versus bubbles.
yeah, I know this is a kind of just really big issue, especially in 2020. A lot of people fall on one side or the other. So we're just going to dive right into balloons versus bubbles. Um, and the first category we're going to do is blowing.
All right, so blowing, blowing, blowing. Bubbles and balloons. Well, I mean, right off the bat, I mean, I already know you're probably gonna have to blow in both these objects, right?
The question is to what extent, though.
That's true. One holds the air. One's like an actual like, container for air. The balloons, that is.
Yeah, yeah.
One almost kind of like steals the air for a little bit. Like I don't even know.
Well, no, one. I mean, they both won't. They don't exist in their true forms without blowing air into them. I think is what it comes down to. But that being said, balloons have a variety of what can be defined as air. You can use blowing from your mouth into a
This is
balloon,
good.
or you could use like air container with hydrogen in it or any sort of type of chemical that will kind of help it
No, you're
contain
right. You're right. I
that's
guess.
whereas with balloon or bubbles, excuse me, bubbles, you're not really doing anything other than dipping a wand in and
Yeah.
then
No, that's a good point. As far as the the different types of airs and gases that can be blown into a balloon, you're right, is much more than a bubble.
but conversely, the amount of time it takes is much different. A bubble, there you go. You
You're
got a
right.
bubble.
Bubbles can
A
happen when you're
balloon,
not
a
even
balloon.
trying to.
If you just go in a balloon, that's not going to do anything. The balloon's basically going to slap you in the face, be like, "Oh, are you kidding?"
Oh, well, now I'm thinking. Okay. All right. Yeah, you're right. All right. All right. This is tough. This is tougher than I thought. But I mean, I think balloons are still pretty strong in this category.
Yeah, because it in one way though too, it does benefit you by actually blowing. Like it helps build up your lung capacity by having to blow into it. So it's a mutually beneficial interaction.
I didn't know
Um,
that. That's interesting.
whereas a bubble, you just kind of go, and that doesn't really do anything for you. But then the
Yeah, it's
bubble's
no
like, "Hey, that's all I need."
resistance.
So yeah, I guess
Good point.
balloons get blowing.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna agree with that. With balloons having blowing. Category two in the topic of bubbles versus balloons is a material. The different types of things that can make a bubble or a balloon. So now, real quick disclaimer: a balloon. We're talking about like a child's birthday party balloon. We're not like, yes, technically a zeppelin is filled with an air, but are we categorizing that as a balloon?
No, that's a blimp. That's not a balloon.
Okay, good, good. What's the biggest balloon you could get?
That's a fun question.
Weather balloon, would that count?
uh, no, I mean, I think we're talking about a practical, like, just kind of in-home use balloon. We're not
All
talking
right,
about
so then at most that's like a
aeronautical
latex.
aeronautical balloons.
Yeah, okay, good. Non-commercial use balloons, you say?
Yeah, yeah. These are balloons that aren't going to lift you off the ground.
Gotcha, gotcha. Tell that to Balloon Boy. um, so in that case, most of these balloons that we're talking about in this conversation are all latex based. I couldn't imagine. There's also the foil based ones with like the
Yeah, I was
graphics on
gonna
it.
say there's the ones you can get at like supermarkets and at Disneyland.
All right, and I can't think of any more types of balloons besides that.
But bubbles, there's a whole litany. Like you can have accidental bubbles, you can have bubbles from gum, you can have
Yeah,
bubbles
exactly right.
from.
Yeah, soap is a good bubble maker. You can
I
make
hate to
bubbles
say
that
it. I hate to
melt.
say it. Urine.
Urine makes
Hydrate.
bubbles. Yeah, snot bubbles. Yeah, we're going down a gross one, but it's true. Beer has bubbles.
Beer,
Carbonation is bubbles.
soda.
Soda, yeah. So
So
it seems like almost everything could make a bubble. Yeah, actually, anything probably could make a bubble if you melted steel down and blew a little
you
air in
could.
it. It would make a
Oh, that's true.
bubble.
Yeah, if you're cooking, stuff will bubble.
Yeah.
So I think yeah, I think as far as the diversity of materials, bubbles wins.
All right. So category two goes to bubbles. Ding ding ding.
So it's 1-1.
1-1. All
Um,
right.
Category three, pretty obvious one, carnivals.
Yep.
Um,
So
so at carnivals, you can pop balloons, you can throw darts at them, try and win
buy them
prizes.
is usually someone a
Buy
vendor.
balloons. So they have a lot of fun uses. Whereas bubbles, the only really bubbles you would incur is like if like a clown or something's like throwing bubbles everywhere, like they do in those
Yeah.
human bubble things.
Exactly.
But they're just annoying and obnoxious. Like there's nothing like that fun about it. Just kind of there. Whereas balloons are more interactive and in some cases can get you things like giant stuffed animals. So when it
I
comes to carnivals, I mean, this is a little briefer, but I feel like this is definitely a balloon category.
well, I couldn't imagine a carnival without balloons. It's like embedded in like the carny law. It's like
Yeah,
yeah, I think the balloons are like set down first, and then the tents are set around them.
yeah,
And
yeah. They
so
build it around the balloons.
yeah, exactly. So and then
So it's 2-1.
bubbles. Yeah. So yeah, no, exactly. So yeah, balloons for carnivals. Two for balloons, one for bubbles. We're going into the fourth category, which is uh, stripper names.
So what?
Stripper names.
Oh, stripper
Or
names.
yeah, like names of
Hmm.
women who dance at gentlemen clubs.
Or
Uh,
men.
or men. Sorry about that. So as far as someone who would dance for a living, named Bubbles, I believe that's maybe yeah. I could see someone being named Bubbles.
Well,
Someone
bubbles
named
is fun. Like
Bubbles.
bubbles sounds like a good time. Someone who's not going to be overly aggressive. Someone's just going to be um, there to make sure there's a good energy to a bubbles. Whereas I feel like balloons is very just kind of on the nose and also just kind of
Balloons.
standoffish,
Yeah,
and like, hey, I'm balloons.
yeah. It doesn't roll off the tongue as much
Yeah,
as bubbles.
balloon smokes 2 packs a day, whereas bubbles is like,
Hey,
hey
honey,
man,
you want to dance?
I'm having a good time too. We're here, we're both having fun.
Balloons just doesn't. Balloons would be an okay last name at best.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give Bubbles to this category.
So it's 2-2, bubbles versus balloons.
All right.
Um, Looks like we need a tiebreaker, unfortunately. This is unprecedented that we actually get to the fifth category, but as we know, when you're in the fifth category, it comes down to what would Doug Benson prefer?
Exactly right. It's our tiebreaker. Ready to do it?
Yeah,
All right. We
one.
count three. One,
Yeah,
two,
yeah. 1, 2, 3.
three.
Bubble.
Bubbles. Bubbles takes it home. I kind of
Just 'cause,
saw
like
that
I'm
coming.
sure he likes gum.
Yeah.
Also, just kind of the fun of bubbles, like it's very temporary. Whereas a balloon, you have to like carry around with you, and
Yeah. No, I
yeah.
could see him being like, "Yeah, great. I have a balloon. I have to like I have floating
Whereas
trash."
a bubble, you just be like ah, and then just be done with it.
Yeah. No, I'm sure. I'm sure it's fun to make bubbles. Hey, exactly. That's one of the pleasures of a bubble is that it's like not it's not it doesn't exist
It's not a
for a long time. You don't have
it's
to
not a
like
burden.
yeah you don't have to get connected to something that and then take like and worry that it's gonna not exist anymore. It's like oh there it is and it's gone. You get to you feel like God in a way.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we got to the bottom of that. Bubbles beats balloons.